I wasn't the cake and streamers type, so birthdays never really mattered to me. But this year, my 42nd, Denise insisted. She said, her voice soft and unreadable, "Let's have people over. Let's make it special." I saw it as a ceasefire. Maybe. Things were finally getting better between us, so I cleaned the patio, ordered food from the restaurant she loved, and even wore the outfit she had picked out for me. The one I swore I'd never wear even at Christmas. Made me feel like a man pretending to enjoy his own home. By 5 the house was humming with conversation. Only my friends, my family, and a few neighbors remembered me. I poured drinks, smiled politely, told a few harmless jokes to Liam, until they smelled the ribs on the grill. Denise floated in the corner, where her son, already 3 beers in, held court with his college pals. She moved through the room like she was destined to greet royalty. Flawless hair, a well-placed laugh. My wife was always skilled at performance. Just as the last tray of canapes was making the rounds, she tapped her wine glass with a spoon and launched into a tone-deaf version of Happy Birthday. The room hushed. Then she gave me that languid, practiced smile, the one that used to feel like a challenge more than love. "Liam and I have a special gift for Marcus," she said, just as the cake was being sliced. I nodded, assuming it was a watch, maybe one of those ridiculous golf getaway packages I never wanted. Liam stood beside her, hands behind his back, eyes avoiding mine. Denise motioned for him to step forward. He did. Looked like a kid about to perform in a school play. Then I heard it. The soft scrape of suitcase wheels being dragged from behind the couch. It stopped at my feet. I laughed. I thought it was a joke. Denise didn't laugh. She raised her glass. "It's your gift, Marcus." I grinned nervously. "Now it's your turn to go." There were awkward chuckles. Then, silence. "We're tired of your arrogance," she said, and just like that, the air changed. My body stopped moving. "Calm and cruel," she continued. "You act like everyone in this house. Should be grateful just because you exist. We're done. It's time for you to leave. Your money, your tone, your rules." The suitcase stood upright. Black, new, probably expensive. My hands dropped to my sides. It wasn't impromptu. It was planned. I turned to Liam. He just stared and said nothing. He walked past me like I wasn't his father, like I was a bad tenant being evicted from a lease that had expired long ago. I looked across the room, some faces I recognized. Some I didn't. Others too ashamed to meet my eyes. Some quietly amused. It played out like a reality show. I didn't ask why, didn't plead. Would I have begged to stay? No. It was my birthday. I bent down, picked up the suitcase, and walked to the door. No one stopped me, not even them, just like the space they'd already carved for me in their lives. Empty. As I reached the foyer, my phone sat on the entry table. I unlocked it. Opened the banking app, $3,800 a month. Mortgage, groceries, Liam's allowance, the gym I never used, Denise's salon visits, streaming services for shows I never watched. I confirmed each transfer, then closed the app with a single tap. The night air hit like a verdict as I shut the door behind me. I drove 2 blocks, parked in an empty lot, sat with my hands on the wheel. Not angry, not broken, just stunned. 18 years. I built that house, buried fatigue in overtime, missed vacations, so we'd never worry about rent or tuition or lights going off. I endured the silence, the sighs, the looks, and they gave me a suitcase. That was when I learned what disposable feels like. They didn't want a husband. They didn't want a father. They wanted an ATM with a smile. Well, I wasn't staying, not where I wasn't wanted, and definitely not funding the next betrayal. The hints hadn't even been subtle. Laughter stopped when I walked in. Phones flipped, face down. Doors shut behind me with rhythm, like choreography. I thought it was stress from Liam's classes, Denise's new leisure lifestyle. But I was no longer a person in that house. I was furniture. Something to postpone until necessary. She didn't wear her wedding band anymore. They stopped replying to my good morning texts. Stopped thanking me, I noticed. Of course I noticed. But I told myself, marriages go through dry spells. She'd come. Around, if I just kept showing up. So I kept paying. Still remembered her favorite wine. Still paid for Liam's off-campus rent. Still took her car in for maintenance, even when she forgot me on Thursday nights. That wasn't dedication. That was cowardice, masquerading as patience. They were grooming me, conditioning me to think I was the problem. So when they finally kicked me out, I didn't even argue. And that silence, Liam's silence, hurt more than Denise's words. That night made the betrayal official, but I'd been grieving the loss long before. I drove by the house a few nights later, lights on, music playing, not to spy, just for closure. Then I cut the final threads, closed the credit cards, changed passwords, moved funds, froze the emergency credit line. The one that funded spa trips and handbags, left just enough in the joint account to cover bills. And then I disappeared. They didn't text, didn't ask. Because as long as the money flowed, I wasn't, missed. And when it stopped, only then did Denise wonder where it went. But they never asked if I was okay. Never asked why. That hurt more than I expected. Not because I wanted them to suffer, but because I realized I had never mattered. Not as a person, only as a provider. Denise didn't work. Liam hadn't held a job in years. But they lived like Uber Eats and tuition came in the same gift basket. It was never sustainable, and they waited until my birthday to make the funeral official. The motel was bare. Flickering lamp, dripping faucet. Toilet that moaned with every flush, but for the first time in years I slept. No cold shoulders, no judgment, just quiet. And in that silence, I began to heal. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I realized they were gone long before I left. And the house I carried like a boulder, it was never a home, just a very expensive cage.